This is a top to what we use on stage, but it's very, very special because if you can see, the numbers all go to 11. Look, right across the board. 11, 11,
and most of
11,
the amps go up to 10.
Exactly.
Does that mean it's louder? Is it any louder?
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? It's not 10. You see, most blokes are going to be playing at 10. You're on 10 here, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. You're on 10 on your guitar. Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere, exactly. What we do is if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Hello and welcome to another great deck tech here at Chuckwagon MTG. Today we are playing Spinal Tap. We're cranking it to 11 with almost nothing but enchantments. We have one creature in this deck, but let's run through it, give you an idea what we're trying to accomplish. So in the early game, we got some dead weight to remove some early game threats. This works great against Merfolk, which you will see a lot. Cindervines, so if you're going up against Burn or Control, anytime they're casting non-creature spells, it's going to do a damage to them, and plus it has the added benefit of being able to destroy an artifact or enchantment just in case they put an Ixalan's Binding on one of your other primary win conditions. Luminous Bonds, again for early game threats. Gift of Paradise for ramp and life gain. This deck doesn't move fast in the early game, so you're going to need a few extra points of life. Profane Procession. There's a one of in the deck. This works great to remove additional hard to remove creatures, and then in the latter part of the game, if you can manage to get 3 or more cards exiled with this, you can transform it and then start playing those creatures for yourself. Settle the Wreckage, massive removal for those big swing-ins, especially with Carnage Tyrants. It's hard to remove those. This is one of those ways. Ill-Gotten Inheritance. So the combo in the deck involves Ill-Gotten Inheritance. It is a small thing, 1 point of damage and 1 point of life gain. This will slowly wear away at your opponent, but it'll gain you a little bit of life as well. But once you get down into the 4 damage area, then you can pop this and rob that last 4 points of life from your opponent. This is paired with Captive Audience because, as you can see, one of the things that they have to choose is your life total becomes 4. So as soon as they drop down to 4 life, you can pop your Ill-Gotten Inheritance and that'll end the game. Ritual of Soot for, again, early game threat removal. Kaya's Wrath for things that are over 3 converted mana cost. And then, again, Eldest Reborn. This will help you. If you can't get to your Captive Audience, your other win condition, then you can pull back one of their creatures onto the battlefield to fight for you. Ethereal Absolution. So I have had great success with this card. So it does plus up your creatures, but what's great is it does -1/-1 on all other creatures, and where I found this works great is against Rekindling Phoenix. So whenever the Rekindling Phoenix dies, when the token comes back in, it goes to -1/-1 and disappears. So it's great. One swing removal against the Rekindling Phoenix is very powerful. Additionally, once you've cleared the board of your opponent's cards, you can start exiling them from their graveyard and create 1/1 white and black spirit creature tokens with flying, and they get +1/+1. So you have 2/2 flyers for almost continuously. You'll have access to this for 4 mana. It's a great price for what you're getting. And our one creature in the deck, Darigaaz Reincarnated. What I love about this creature is, it's on our color, but even if they manage to kill it, which is, if they have a murder or, some sort of kill spell, it comes back and it keeps coming back. So they're forced to exile it. they're forced to enchant it. But like I said before, you can use your Cindervines to kill any enchantments that may be on this creature. So it's a great alternate win condition, but that's the deck. Alright, let's jump into the sideboard. So first up we have Kaya, Orzhov Usurper. This is great against things like Arclight Phoenix or any graveyard strategies. You can target those cards in the graveyard and exile them. It also works great as a backup win condition. Also, you can draw some fire away from you and aim it towards Kaya. Next up we have Hieromancer's Cage for any non-land permanents that you're having trouble removing. Wilderness Reclamation. So if you're going up against a aggressive ground strategy, you know, small creatures that are just filling the board, you can't really wipe them out as fast as you want, and you want to keep Settle the Wreckage up, then Wilderness Reclamation can help you with that. 2 additional Kaya's Wraths if you find that that's working for you. Divine Visitation. So this works well with Ethereal Absolution as an alternate win condition. You find out that Ethereal Absolution is working good against your opponent, then you can drop a Divine Visitation. Instead of getting 2/2 flyers, you'll end up, whenever you exile a target card from an opponent's graveyard, creature card, it comes back as a 4/4 flyer, or now a 5/5 flyer with Ethereal Absolution out. And then Sunbird's Invocation, which if you find that you can get into your later game effectively, then this is just a multiplier of force. So you'll be able to cast multiple spells every turn with the mana you have. Alright, let's jump into a game and see what we can make this deck do. What I love about this deck, this is a sketchy keep. We do have 3 of our colors. I will mulligan. Oh, that's even worse. Alright, at least we can get our Cindervines out. What I love about this deck is that it kind of wastes all of your opponent's creature removal. Yeah. You know, Cindervines, you don't see it a lot. I think it's one of the best cards in the most versatile cards in Magic right now in Standard. It punishes your opponent for casting non-creature spells, and it has the added bonus of being able to get rid of... Okay, that's good. We'll get that Isolated Chapel out, and then we can at least remove something off the battlefield. If they throw out some hexproof creature, then okay. I guess we're getting Sapperlinged to death. Okay, I think we get the Overgrown Tomb out. And we dead weight something. Just slow them down a little bit. If this is a Sapperling deck, then it's going to be aggressive. We'll get some, Sapperling Lords out soon. Okay. Alright, so I think play our Isolated Chapel, and they can do 5 damage to us next turn. So I think we get our... So we're going to get our Ill-Gotten Inheritance out. That'll turn it into 4 damage. You know, we're not looking to stop the damage. We're looking to slow it down enough to where we can gain control of the... Okay. So they're going to... Okay, so I think we will play our Eldest Reborn and discard our Luminous Bonds and leave up our Captive Audience. Because Eldest Reborn is going to make us discard on our next... Oh, but we could pop their Eldest Reborn. Versatile. So if we draw a land, we can Captive Audience them this next turn. And with the other thing I like about Captive Audience, if you look, so say they're playing that Ajani Pridemate deck and they're gaining all this life, and you're like, I'm falling so far behind. It doesn't really matter, because eventually their life total becomes 4, and your Ill-Gotten Inheritance beats them down the rest of the way. So Ill-Gotten Inheritance just keeping us alive enough. Let's see what they got in the graveyard. I think we only have one choice whenever it comes around to picking a creature. But this turn we're playing our Cindervines again, and we're gonna Luminous Bond. Just to slow them down. Like I said, we're still taking damage. And we have mana available in case they want to drop another enchantment of some sort. So hopefully this next turn, you know, we'll get a blocker out there at least. Oh, did they put Ravenous Chupacabra in the graveyard? Oh, they put Ravenous Chupacabra in the graveyard. And we are going to kill that Galta with their own Ravenous Chupacabra. Yeah. So let's Gift of Paradise, gain some life back, and then next turn we will be able to Captive Audience. If we can find another Eldest Reborn, we can get our hands on a Galta. But now we got a chump blocker out there. We're looking pretty good so far. I think we have this game. And we're definitely going to block because we don't really care about any combat tricks they have. We want to block those combat tricks if they haven't figured out that our win condition has nothing to do with creatures. And look at this. So with all of the creatures they've been casting, we're still, look at our life totals, 10 and 12, fairly equitable. And usually when you see the captive audience, the game ends at this point, unless they have enchantment removal, which they might. You know, they're in green, so in best of one, in best of one games, enchantment removal, you have to put it in the main board, a little bit of enchantment removal. But at this point, we just wait and see. Maybe they have that enchantment removal. But now at least we have 5 2/2 zombies out here to, you know, fight the good fight. And we don't care about Tendershoe Dryad, because we're just chump blocking until they're forced to go down to 4 life, at which point we can just end the game. And we've got dead weight here for we could Kaya's Wrath. Okay, we'll save that for emergency. At least at this point we can just yeah, you don't want to attack at because their life total is going to go to 4, so any damage you do is kind of a waste of time. Yeah, I doubt that they'll probably discard their hand. What did they do? They created the zombie tokens. Discard your hand, or life total becomes 4. Oh, their life total is going to become 4, so we can end the game right now. I think they're trying to figure out a way. And that's game. So we managed to beat a Galta Carnage Tyrant Saproling deck. But that's pretty much how the deck's supposed to operate. It went off just as I expected. You know, you lose a lot of life in the beginning, but it stabilizes after, you know, usually around 10 life, and then you start to climb your way back up. And depending on what creatures they have that you've been killing this entire time, you know, you could get life gain creatures back, and that, you know, could extend your life even further. But thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this deck tech. If you did, please hit the like, subscribe, and share this with your friends, your family, your pets, because everyone can use a little more magic in your lives. Thanks for hanging out with me.